Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel. My name is Neo. Just getting started with this return client. We have already removed her previous set. She had the blue bandana nails that were thermal color changing. Super cute design. We're starting fresh. So I'm just clipping down her natural nails a little bit shorter and we're gonna get started with some prep. Just spraying her down with some alcohol and I'm gonna gently push back her cuticles and then use my diamond skiver bit to clean up that area, remove any dead skin that's on that nail plate, and just making sure to go in both the forward and reverse direction so that I can get as much of it off the nail as possible. Once done with that, I'm just going to take my arbor band from Young Nails. This is a medium grit, and I'm just going to lightly buff the nail. You see, I don't spend too much time on the natural nail. I am just using it to remove the shine and to further remove any cuticle that I might see around the back of the nail and to buff the skin, actually. If I see like excess dry skin, sometimes I'll just use this arbor band as well on the skin. It's a very low speed, so it isn't painful for the client, but just making sure to just help with prepping of the nail and the surrounding area so that it looks nice. Then we're going in with these clear Coffin tips that I got from Amazon, just making sure that they're nice and straight. I think I do remove one of the tips on, I think her middle finger, actually. I think it's this finger, because I didn't actually place it straight. So this client, I don't know what was going on that day. You can kind of see her hand is not straight. She wasn't sitting with her arms like straight to me. They were kind of like at a side. So I had to like check, and the nail actually wasn't straight, and that's a big thing for me. I do not want crooked nails on my sets, so I actually remove it and replace it, but no biggie. That's why it's good to not use a ton of glue, and I think to not place the tip all the way down the nail plate. It should just be on the very tip of the nail. These tips also come with wells. I don't really follow the well. I just stick the very tip of the nail on the tip of that fingertip, which also helps. So you're gonna see a little bit later, like right there, I was looking at the middle finger like, that middle finger is doing a little bit of a dip. I don't like it. So you're gonna see me clip it off, and then actually clip the actual tip off of her nail, and it comes right off, and no biggie. And then I just replace the tip with a different nail. One thing to keep in mind if you want your tips to end up straight is to kind of envision a straight line down the entire hand, not just looking at the fingertip. Like, I have really crooked fingers too, and if I apply my tips directly on my fingertips, they're going to be all over the place. So I always try to just envision a straight line down the hand, and that usually gives me a good guide to get straight tips on my clients' nails. Just going in with the straight edge clipper, it's so funny because usually people are like, oh, can you make it shorter? But after I did those little clips, she actually looked at me and was like, these nails are really short, and I just laughed because I was just kind of like, oh my goodness. She loves a long nail, love that. So next time she comes in, I'll go extra long for her. Just using this 80/80 grit hand file to now clean up the shape. You see, I'm telling her to like straighten her hands. Clean up the shape and blend the tips from sidewall to sidewall. Sometimes if you use a larger size, slightly larger, you have to file just to make sure that it fits perfectly on the sidewall. So that's what I'm doing here, just making sure that everything fits perfectly on her natural nail. Then I'm gonna go in with the same sanding band and just blend these tips down. So I am focusing mainly, there's a little bit of a clear acrylic on this finger, but no biggie. I'm basically focusing on the transition from the natural nail to the smile line of that tip. We just want it to be nice and smooth. And it is time for prep. So I'm going back to my old original prep system. This is the Mia Secret dehydrator. I'm just using this because it's really, really good for removing any shine and moisture from the nail. Then I'm going in with the Extra Bond from Mia Secret. I think it's running a little low, so I was having some trouble getting it out, but this has been working for me since I started my nail journey, and I just figured it was on the table. Let's just try it. So I'm going in with a good coat of the Extra Bond from Mia Secret, and then when that dries, I like to go in with a small coat of the Young Nails Protein Bond on the natural nail. Now it is time to begin our design. So as you know, I like to place a coat of clear acrylic down the entire length of all of the nails. This also came up during this set because she wanted to, after priming of course, like go in her bag and get something, and I was like, can you just wait for me to put this clear acrylic layer down? And here I am thinking like, oh, it's gonna protect the primer, right? But this client actually went and broke one of the nails. Guys, I don't know if that happens to you. If you're a nail tech or you do nails and clients kind of like mess up the set while you're working on it, like, tell me about your stories in that, because that actually happened. I was like, oh, she's gonna mess up the primer, it's sticky right now, she's gonna get dust on it or whatever, let me put this clear acrylic layer down. So when I was working on the other hand, she actually reached for her purse, and I'm like focused, right? And she comes back and she's just like, oh no. And I look up and I'm like, what did you do? And she shows me, and her pointer finger was basically snapped off. Basically she used her fingernail like she normally would, not realizing that it was just a thin coat of clear acrylic and a new tip, and it basically removed the tip. So you will see me a little bit later fixing that. It wasn't perfect, but you know, you do what you can. But that's definitely something that happens when you do nails on people. They move around, they, you know, sometimes you just gotta tell them to sit down, don't move your hands. I told a different client, I was like, I'm gonna bring handcuffs on this table so that you keep your hands on the table, because I have other clients who fidget around so much, but no biggie. Just going in with my clear acrylic layer before we get into this crazy design. So there you go, you see that form on the nail. I just used a form to kind of extend that nail because I didn't feel like removing it and adding a new tip, so whatevs. I'm going in now with the design, and we're going to be doing some reverse smile lines. So I'm using Not Polished First Nudes, and I'm building up a nice almondy shape smile line for her on two of her nails, on her ring finger and on her thumb. Nothing crazy. In terms of making a smile line, I like to use a drier bead. Sometimes you can do it right away from the cuticle, but I just felt like, you know, I wasn't sure how far I wanted this to travel down, so I'm doing it in multiple beads. But I think the drier the bead, the better it is. It's not going to run, and as you can see, it's kind of staying in place, and I can use the body of my brush to kind of flatten it or lengthen it out if I want it to be a little bit longer, and then the tips of my brush to kind of push the product in where I need it to be. Now I'm just going in with my cuticle bead and just building up that area for structure. And I'm going to do the same thing on the thumb, just making sure to use a drier bead. I tap my brush on my napkin for a few seconds before applying it to the nail, and then I'm just going to start working that brush, tapping my brush on the napkin and working that bead down the middle of the nail and using the body of my brush to kind of mold it where I want it to be. I find when doing smile lines, the tips of the brush are your friend in terms of shaping, and the body of the brush is more for like extending that product down where you want it to be. So I'm just doing my best to make sure that it's centered to the thumb, but you can always go back in and not erase, what's it called, file, to kind of erase anywhere you don't want it to be. boom, and we've got a beautiful reverse French smile line built in there. So one of the main colors that we're going to be using today is this pink. It's a bright kind of blue toned, I wouldn't call it a hot pink. It has hot pink kind of undertones in it, but it's not necessarily like a bright neon kind of hot pink. This is Lipstick by Sugar and Cream. It is a glow in the dark color and it glows bright pink, and I thought it would be perfect to use. I actually intended to only use this color on the set, but she asked to have purple in the set, so we grabbed a purple and we incorporated that into this design. So I'm going in on 3 of the fingers that don't have the French, and we're going to be doing a 2-color ombre between this pink called Lipstick and a purple from Not Polished called Mambasita. I actually received it or purchased it and talked about it in a haul video. I will link that video for us. In terms of the French nails, I'm going to be ombreing the free edge of these nails as well. So just placing that color down, we will be ombreing the purple around the smile line that we created, but for the most part I'm just packing it in for coverage. Don't worry about building up for structure. I know some people do their reverse French nails and build up structure this way so that when they file the nail it really has the structure, but I will be clear capping this design anyway, so my focus is just to make sure that we have good coverage and that we don't warp the shape too much. Now that we're done with that really pretty pink, we're gonna go in with Mambasita. So this purple is like a super deep kind of blue toned violet kind of purple, and we're just going to do our best to ombre this purple into that pink. So as you can see, the purple is really pigmented, and I find that when there's a lot of pigment in colors, sometimes they don't blend very well. They have so much pigment that you kind of have to like pat the product until it kind of shears out. So that's the, I guess, what I was trying to do in terms of ombreing these colors, using more wet beads and just kind of patting until the color kind of shears out, because the brushing down wasn't working. It kind of just removes the pigment. I'm not too worried about the blend being perfect because we are going to do some hand painting on top, and it definitely does help to obscure any bad blending. And I'm just going to back swipe with the pink to kind of help with the blend as well. I'm going to do this on every single finger. On the French nails, I am going to be placing that purple right around that French area. So mostly focusing on adding the color around the French in a neat manner and then focusing on the blend a little bit later. All right, I've got to clean up these French nails. So I'm going in with my medium carbide bit, and I've got this at a medium to high speed. I'm just cleaning up that smile line. So that's the whole point. We applied that purple nice and tight around there. So when you go in and kind of file off the nude area, we get a nice, sharp, clean line. I'm not focusing on debulking or anything like that. The nails are not completely straight from the colors that we added on that free edge. The thing I'm focusing on here is just cleaning up that nude color so that we don't have any purple kind of laying over it. So we are going to be painting a plaid design on all of these nails. This striper gel polish that I have right now is a set that I purchased on Amazon maybe like a month ago. It's just so interesting that all of the companies kind of come out with the same product at the same exact time. I know Kiara Sky came out with their gel stripers, and then Not Polished came out with one, and then Sugar and Cream came out with one. I'm not going to be surprised if iGel Beauty comes out with one. So like everyone's doing it right now, and it's like genius. Like, you know, we used to use these for regular polishes. Why not have them for gel polishes? They're super pigmented and they come with a really, really thin brush, so it kind of just helps you. This one is from Amazon. It's super, super affordable. I know the ones that I've been seeing have been like $120, $150, like $13 a pop. I think this was like $30, and it came with, I want to say like 12 or 13 different colors. It doesn't have a wide variety of colors. I think there's like 3 or 4 pinks in there. I'm like, you could have thrown a purple in there, a brown in there, but for the price, it is a great starting gel liner, I guess, pack to start with if you're a beginner or you just want to kind of get your feet wet with these stripers. But in terms of the design, I am starting off with a thicker white line to the right of these nails. And this is what I was talking about in terms of like not really focusing on the blend between those two colors, because this pattern is kind of gonna camouflage it. Your eye's not really gonna be on that pattern. I do have the client curing in between each, not finger, because I'm so bad at that, but when I finish one thing, so like I'm going horizontal now on all of the nails, I will have her cure for 30 seconds to kind of lock that down. So I'm doing a horizontal line towards the bottom of the nail, and same thickness of the first line, and this is going to be our main plaid kind of storyline. I don't know if that makes sense. Now to ground that white, I'm gonna go in with a black, and I love these liner brushes because the tips of the brushes are really, really thin. Sometimes when you get these striper brushes, they have more of a rounded edge, but this one's kind of like a tapered one, so it gives you a really, really a good option for a really, really thin line. So I'm focusing on doing 3 lines over this white area, 1 on the outside of each part of the line, and then 1 down the center. And I'm just doing my best to keep the lines really, really straight. In terms of doing straight lines, when you're painting, it's best to just kind of let the brush do the work for you. You don't want to have to like literally drag the line across with your hand, because you know your hand is going to shake and everything. Just place that, you know, brush tip on the nail and just drag it down, and it will kind of do its job just like that. Like, I'm not trying to make a straight line. I place it on the nail and just kind of bring it down, and there you go. We get a nice, you know, mostly straight line. You get the effect of it too. If you feel like you're someone who's a little bit shaky, definitely have the client cure in between fingers. I'm so notoriously bad at doing that. I'm kind of like, we'll do the whole hand, and then if the client sneezes, then I'm in trouble. Got to do the whole thing again. But, you know, doing our best. One thing that I will say about this liner set, 1, definitely get it. I think it's worth it. The colors are great. It's super pigmented, and it's really, really affordable as a starter pack if you're not willing to like shell out almost $200 on gel liners. But one thing to keep in mind is that these brushes kind of sit, I think they overpacked the bottle, which is great, right? You want a lot of product, but the brush sits in that gel. So like the top part of the brush, you have to make sure you wipe it off really, really well, because the paint will drip down onto your bristle and you'll get like a blob on your, canvas, whatever it is you're painting. So just keep that in mind. That's one thing that I saw. But for the most part, these colors were really, really great. I'll definitely try and use them a little bit more in the future too, just getting into some hand designing. It's a really, really cool option. Maybe I might even splurge, just because it had very limited colors, on one of the more, I guess, well-known ones that have like really cool colors. I know Sugar and Cream had one. They have like collections, like a fall theme with like russets and like browns. I'm like, this is really freaking cool. Can we make this a little bit more affordable? But whatevs. I'm going in now with a super, super bright hot pink. So this is one of the pinks that come in the set, and as you can see, super pigmented. I'm not doing very, very much, and we're going to draw another cross kind of at the back portion of the nail. So on the opposite side of the white, we're doing a vertical pink, and then on the back part of the nail, we're going to draw that pink over the white and black lines that we did before. And this kind of just ties in the pink that we have on the tips of the nail. I was considering adding a purple as well, but the set did not come with a purple deep enough. It has like a lavender kind of purple, but I figured that would kind of take away from the ombre and the plaid. So this kind of just, gave us the hint of plaid, and it totally looks good, I think. But yeah, once done with this pink line, our plaid is done, and then we will clear cap these nails. Now it is time to clear cap. I really do enjoy encapsulating hand designs. It just gives me a sense of security, and I kind of like that it feels like it's built into the nail versus sitting on top of the nail. So I didn't build up the structure too thick on these nails, and on the French nails I wasn't worried about making it totally clean because I knew I was going to be encapsulating. So just making sure to get the entire design in under that clear acrylic layer. It'll be completely safe, and then we can move from there. Once done with that, we're going in and we're going to e-file all of these nails. My main focus here is just smoothing out the surface of the nail, maintaining the nice shape that we're going for, and cleaning up the cuticle and sidewall area in case I got any product on those areas of her skin. I'm using a medium grit carbide bit. It is not a safety. I love this bit so much. It's from a cart and it's a little bit old, so I think that's why I like it. It's kind of like in its prime. I've been using it for a while and it's just at the like perfect, I don't know, perfect place of like being worn down but still super effective, where I completely know exactly what it's gonna do. Getting a new bit is like, oh, it's a little too sharp right now, I gotta be a little bit more careful. But this one, I know it's not gonna cut my clients because the tip is not like super sharp, and I can totally, you know, do what I need to with this bit. Loving this bit so much. After going in with that E-file, I'm going in with my hand file, and I'm just making sure to clean up the shape. I want a nice tight shape, making sure to clean things up, get a nice sharp free edge. Nothing crazy here, just going in with my hand file and maintaining that shape. So this pointer finger had a little bit more filing to get done on it. I did, this is the finger that she did break when going to her bag. So it had, I used a form to kind of, you see me filing the bottom. I used a form to kind of rebuild the length of the shape. So it is a little bit uneven on the bottom. So just taking my time to maintain the shape on the sides from the front appearance, but also on the bottom as well. So if you see me swiping or filing the bottom, that's exactly what happens. So after having the client go wash her hands, I'm spraying her down with some alcohol and just using my manicure brush to kind of clean those nails off, get rid of any dust or debris. And as you can see, they look really, really cool. I love the addition of hot pink to that plaid. Isn't it just really, really nice? I'm totally digging it. Next, I'm just gonna add a tiny bit of bling. You can see that I built up some patterns on the napkins down below, but just ended up not wanting to add a crap ton of bling to these nails. We are using crystal rhinestones that I got from a bling box from Amazon. Definitely check those bling boxes out. Super affordable. Do not spend $150 on them from people's boutiques. Please, I'm asking you. And then yeah, I'm using my Zule bling adhesive and just making a small 3-stone rhinestone pattern on that pointer finger. Last step for this design, just because we encapsulated here, is 2 glossy top coats. I'm going in with my Gloss-It from Not Polish and just giving each nail a good coat of this glossy top coat. I'm going to clean my sidewalls and have this client cure for 60 seconds. And here's what that set came up looking like. Super bright, super pretty. I'm totally loving the Barbie pink with that plaid. Thank you so much for watching. Definitely check out that gel polish striping set. Like if you like, subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.